YouTube, what's going on? In this video I'm going to be showing you how to set up a virtual machine. There's a free piece of software that you can use for this, and it's called VirtualBox, as well as there's a paid piece of software called VMware that you can use. I will be using VMware Workstation 11 for this, but what you have to do is going to be the same no matter what piece of software that you use. So I'm going to talk to you about what some of the little things that you need to be aware of when you do this. So really the things you need to be worried about when you are running virtual machines is space on your computer. The more space you have, if you have a large hard drive like I do, I have a 2 terabyte. So for me to allocate it the sufficient amount of space that it requires isn't an issue. Usually for my virtual machines I go anywhere from 80 gigs to 160 depending on what it is, what I want to use it for. So, and then your hardware that you have in your computer. The more RAM, the more CPU power you have, the better. Those are the main two you have to be worried about. So stay tuned and let's get on with it.
Hey there YouTube. So in this part of the video I'm going to be discussing with you what your options are for software in terms of running virtual machines. I'm using VMware Workstation 11, but there are other free ones. In the easiest way, just type in free VM players and you'll get like a site like this, like Lifehack. And the number one that comes up, which doesn't surprise me, which is a cross-platform, is VirtualBox. Parallels, which runs on also cross-platform. We have VMware, like the one I said, which you have QEMU, which is a Linux, it's a free one for Linux. Windows Virtual PC, I've never actually used that. So those are the top ones. So in this video, like I said, I'm going to be showing you how to set it up. So you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that you have your file installed, or your application installed for running the virtual machine. Okay, so now that you have installed your application, go ahead and launch the application. So I'm using VMware Workstation 11, like I said, right here. So we're going to want to create a new VMware. So as you can see, I have some running here. And in this case, I'm just going to be doing the Linux because it's free, it's open source, yada yada yada. Especially after this whole rigmarole of Microsoft copyrighting all kinds of Windows 10 videos, I want to avoid that. So we'll click here, create, or you can go up here to file, new virtual machine. You can use typical, or I usually use custom. And I'm going to obviously want Workstation 11, because that's what I'm using. Now this may vary slightly. This screen will vary depending on what software you're using. And in this case, I will install operating system. I can go here, browse. Nope. Now you can do that if you have an ISO image on your computer. This if you're actually installing from a CD. I will install the operating system later because I have to load the ISO off a thumb drive. So I'm going to go next. I'm going to go Linux because I'm installing CentOS 64-bit. And this is where you can name what you want to call it. So we'll call it that. Okay, so I have one processor. I'll give it 4 cores. I better give it 2. Now I'll give it 4 because I have an 8-core CPU, so we'll give it half that because when I run virtual machines, I run nothing else in the background. So we'll go next. Okay, I have 16 gigs, so I'll say 4 gigs should be more than enough. Now this is networking. So I just leave it at default for the networking because I'm just not doing anything fancy. Now this is all set differently depending on what you're using this for. Next. So I'll say, okay, we'll just take recommended for the I/O controller. This is select the disk. Create new virtual disk. So we'll say 40 gigs. And we'll store the disk as a single file. And we'll store it there. Next. Finish. And now you have successfully set up the virtual machine. Installing the operating system of your choice will be the next step. Okay, YouTube, so I'm just going to point it to my ISO that I have transferred off a thumb drive onto my computer. And then I'm going to go ahead and power on the virtual machine. So I want to install CentOS 7. Now please note this might be a little laggy due to the fact that I'm also running a screen capture in the background. So okay, you can see a first initial screen, so we want English, United States, continue. So now this is where we can go ahead and just select all our time zone settings and everything. I need to go down to here. Okay, so that's done. Keyboard, language support. So we want to select our desktop, so I'm just going to go ahead, select all of these. Done. So now that those are good, we'll go ahead, begin installation. Now there's a few things you want to set. So you want to set root password to something you'll remember. So I'm just going to set a dummy password 1234. Done. When you set a weak password like that, Linux least CentOS anyways will make you confirm twice. So let's make our username. That works. Sure. We don't want a password. So now at this point it's just going to finish installing everything and go through all the rigmarole of setting it up, and then we'll be on our way. This is fairly similar to installing Windows, maybe in a little bit of a different order, and basically the same process as well as installing OS X onto a Mac. So there you have it. You have now successfully installed an operating system into a virtual machine.
So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please comment, rate, subscribe, hit that like button, as well as click like on my Facebook page, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one.